welcome to another episode of the Miles Offside podcast, where we talk a little bit of football and a whole lot of nonsense. My name is Oscar Puente, also known as Footy From Afar, and with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Mr. 99.93682%, and super producer Ian Stimpson. How's it going, Chuck?
Yeah.
All right, how's it going, Ian?
It's going to be a good one, isn't it? Yeah. Fine, thanks, yeah.
One-word answers. That's what you love on a podcast. Just, yep. Yep, there it is. How's Posh? Checking on Posh Island. Got to start things off the right way.
Didn't play. Playing Pompey tomorrow, although by the time this comes out, it will have already happened, and I will either be embarrassed or happy. But they've sacked their manager.
Kenny Jackett.
Yeah, well, they sacked their manager because they lost the leasing.com EFL trophy final on penalties to Salford. Salford got to keep the trophy for one day before this year's final was played the next day at Wembley. So
wait, what?
Wait. Hold up.
I don't
a
understand.
minute. I did not. I was going to say I got really confused because I was pretty sure there was an EFL Trophy final and there were two of them 2 days in a row.
Yeah, there were. So last year's final had to be postponed because of COVID, but they wanted to play it anyway. So they played it, I think it was on Saturday, and that's when Portsmouth lost on penalties.
Right.
And then they played this year's final the day after. So Salford got to keep the trophy for a day before it went to Sunderland.
But is it the same trophy if last year was the leasing.com and this year's Papa John's? Who got the pizza?
Well, I assume Sunderland, but I think... I'm the one who's called it that. I assume that the sponsorship has to remain, even though that the whole competition has been played this year as the Papa John's Trophy, because it's last year's final. Leasing.com deserve a mention for their continued sponsorship last year of the trophy.
They get enough mentions on here, so surely our listenership and the pool of the EFL Trophy, like, you can pop them side by side. Right?
What are you talking about? That's a Venn diagram that's a circle, mate. What are you talking about? Everyone loves the EFL Trophy.
So much League One content. Anything to not talk about how Peterborough have not been doing well.
Couple of games, not great, but with games in hand. I've always been a fan of games in hand. It definitely.
Well, Oscar's little face is illuminating, so I'm assuming he's on 538 right now.
I'm clicking in the background. That's exactly right. Let's see what the numbers say.
Yes, the stats would have said Peterborough will have gone down, but you can use stats to prove anything that's even remotely true.
Yikes. Okay, well, they have dropped a bit from their lofty highs of being the most likely to get promoted.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, do you want me to say this, or should we just
move on? Yeah, go
on. There's still 49% to make the playoffs, so that's pretty good. 60-ish, 59% to go up, which is still much better than
that's
50%, and 20% to win the league. But Hull have taken a commanding lead on that front.
Yeah, well, we got a player sent off in the first half when we were playing Hull and then lost the game 3-1, so...
Smart.
Yeah, not great. I mean, still got games in hand, though, so like I say,
You've always said games in hand are better than points on the board.
Famously.
You've always said it famously.
And it did Wickham well when they, the games in hand, the points per game meant that they got into the Championship, and they're doing super well, as I keep saying. Wickham clearly deserve to get into the Championship. What's the 538 on Wickham getting relegated back to League One?
Numbers don't go that high, mate.
Let's look it up.
Because they are currently...
This is such good content.
It is good content. They are currently how many points below Sheffield Wednesday, who started on -12?
Sheffield Wednesday got changed to a -6.
Did it? Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's play a game. More or less likely to get relegated? West Brom or Wickham?
Surely they're both like 99%.
That's not the question, Chuck.
More likely, I'd say Wickham.
More likely it's West Brom because they're over 99%.
Yeah, they're greater than 99, but Wickham are 98, so...
Good. Fuck them.
That's pretty fucking likely to go down. For some context, the next most likely to go down are Sheffield Wednesday, R.I.P. Dave, sorry, and then 64% for Birmingham. So it looks like actually relegation in the Championship is pretty much done and dusted. That is as much lower league talk as I can handle. Can we please move on?
I am expanding this section as we go on. I'm loving this.
Yeah, now we're talking about the Championship. I'm like, nah, I'll talk about Peterborough. I'm not trying to talk about, like, teams.
We have covered the EFL Trophy, League One, the Championship.
We all know how it works, Oscar, for you ascending the pyramid, and we need to gradually do it from League One up the Championship into the Premier League, lest you get the bends.
This is the depressurisation.
Should we check in on Forest Green Rovers then, just to like really?
No, don't go deeper. No, Oscar.
Oh, they're deeper. Oh, they're lower. Okay, never mind. I don't know. It's so hard to keep track. Who knows?
Brilliant.
Anybody below like 10th in the Premier League? I'm like, who are you?
Rapid.
Yeah, we've noticed. Yeah.
Yep, pretty much. Actually, Chuck, funny you should say that because we are skipping the rapid fire news this week, but I will still say, if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We are happy to have you. Can't believe you made it past League One and Posh Talk. But you know,
that's the filter we need. We need to only let the real listeners through. That's the filter.
That's exactly right. Yeah, we are two Brits, one American. We try to talk about soccer. We mostly get distracted. And if you are coming back, leave a review. Patreon.com/milesoffsidepod or Patreon.com/milesoffside. One of those two.
Oh, you had it right. I
had it right. Okay, all right. Just cut the second bit then. Easy, done and dusted.
Yeah, that's how it works.
But we'll just jump straight into the fixtures this week. So let's just kick things off.
Where did we record last time?
Yeah. Last week was a bit of a rough one, recording on an off day when I didn't have any prep or anything. Anyway, made for a very hilarious bluffer. We'll see how this week goes. No pressure, Ian. But we kick things off on Wednesday, March 10th, 2021 with business as usual. Manchester City 5, Southampton 2, Manchester City 3.1 to Southampton's 1.6. I guess anything to say about that one, gentlemen, or shall we mostly take it into the second Manchester City match of the week, which is a lot more interesting in my opinion?
Yeah, let's do that one.
Moving on then to Saturday, March 13, the other match that City played part in, and one that is of interest to this particular podcast because of our lovely, lovely Patreon, and that is Fulham 0. Oh, sorry. City 3, not Manchester City. They lost all the Manchesters. Fulham 0.5 to City's 2.7. So another dicking for City, business as usual, 8 goals between the two matches. But I think Fulham here is the more interesting angle because they've been kind of making moves in the relegation situation. So why don't we take it from there, Ian?
Well, it's a shame for Fulham, but at the end of the day, they were never going to be targeting this fixture, were they? This Man City was always going to be an assumed loss. In a totally different way that Liverpool were not an assumed loss for Fulham. But Man City probably would have been.
It was never Fulham-Liverpool. There was one person in this parish who said Fulham are going to win.
No, I'm supporting that. I'm saying that Scott,
cool. Just check it.
Okay, I'm supporting your position that it was not.
I've not got a lot going on for me at the moment, so if you could just give me that, mate, thanks.
You called that Fulham would beat Liverpool, fine.
I did.
Yeah, stop being so defensive.
Check the fucking receipt.
Ian, what is a podcast for if not to call out when you made a correct prediction 1 in 40 times?
That's fair enough. Yeah, fair enough.
Let Chuck have his moment.
Thank you, Oscar.
Please. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Right.
Ian, but in reaction to what you're saying, like, yes, maybe Fulham expected a loss going into the City match. I think most people do, honestly, at this point against City. But what about the manner of the loss? There was a lot of, like, shooting themselves in the foot there. To borrow an American expression, maybe a country with less guns would use a different expression, but, like, they defeated themselves. There was a lot of mistakes. Yeah. A lot of really, really boneheaded decisions all over the place. Do you not think that that's going to impact Fulham a little bit, take away some of their momentum?
It definitely could do, because I think you're absolutely right. There was a lot of sloppiness, and also teams around them won as well, which is not good. So yeah, the combination of that could derail them. Yeah, you're right, and hopefully it won't.
Teams around them won.
Yeah,
teams around what? Sheffield United got absolutely fucking battered.
Brighton,
West Brom lost.
Brighton
Thank you very much to the Mighty Palace. Oh, brilliant. Brighton won. Right.
Yeah.
What did Newcastle do?
Newcastle drew. They dropped 2 points. Sheffield lost 5-0, so they dropped some points.
Is Newcastle dropping points?
Yes. They are dropping points.
They won that. That was basically a win for Newcastle United.
I don't think a draw for Newcastle could be assumed as dropping points.
Yeah, whatever. All right. Yeah, fair enough.
All right. Well, Newcastle is still 45% to go down. Fulham 41. So it is getting closer, but Newcastle is still more likely as of this moment.
Yeah, but why? No, I don't want to talk about that team that play in black and white. I want to talk about the other team that play in black and white. And if Fulham, as we mentioned, they're not looking to target anything from that game. They did make a lot of silly mistakes, but at the same time, you were looking at how they were playing in possession with the ball, and they were still playing their game despite the immense amount of pressure City were playing. And now, granted, the way City play is like they would only really commit when they know they can win it back, and then they can really hurt you. But Fulham were still playing out the back and they did not look uncomfortable on the ball apart from a few mistakes. So if they can get those all out in one game against City, which is a game they're not bothered about at all, their next fixtures coming up are Leeds, Villa, Wolves, Arsenal. There's a good few to target there. They still have to play Burnley, who have kind of moved out of the question really now, it seems. They still have Newcastle to play on the last day of the season, of course. Southampton in there as well. So, I don't know. They could
definitely put a run together.
They could get between 7 and 10 points out of that the rest of the season, I'd say. That takes them to at least 36.
Oh, that's got to be safe this season.
You'd hope so.
Yeah. That's what, I mean, honestly, like it's there. I think that they have a pretty good chance of staying up. There's a lot of room there to be had.
That game against Newcastle's huge.
That last day is going to be a huge, huge deal. And this is going to sound like a snide comment, but genuinely, much better teams than Fulham, no offense, have put up less than 0.5 against Man City. So, like, putting up 0.5 against Man City is not anything to necessarily be upset about. Like, that's a pretty decent amount of creativity, a decent amount of threat.
You can't call that numbers. I'll keep you honest there. Like, I'm not calling 0.45 numbers, putting up decent numbers. And yeah, for that reason, sorry, Safiri, you're not getting a theme tune this week, but I predict big things next week because the mighty super attacking Leeds have only scored in one of their last 5 games.
Yes, actually, that's probably a good place to transition then to Saturday, March 13, and that is Leeds 0, Chelsea 0, Leeds 0.4 to Chelsea's 1.0. I will
1.0, dear.
Step out of the way and let you gentlemen have opinions on this first before I come in and have my own opinions as well about Chelsea, as we usually do. So, did either of you happen to watch this match? / what are your thoughts on Chelsea in general lately?
Watch, brackets, endure. Yeah, I don't know what was more painful, watching the match or the players' ankles afterwards off of Leeds' appalling pitch, and God knows how they don't have as many injuries as they do. Praise be to the groundsman for getting it in that good condition. And that, I believe, is their loaner pitch that they paid something like 600 grand to Tottenham for in January.
It's like they bought a pitch off of Wish or whatever, and it's like you pay for a certain dress, and then something else that looks nothing like it arrived.
Well, it's just actually a bag for life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, Oscar, because normally when we do this, I actually decide to be serious about Chelsea for once and then steal all your points, and then you just go, but I think...
That's about a third of my points. I just don't want to drown you out for next hour talking about Chelsea. I have plenty of points to go over.
Snip, snip, snip goes Ian in the edit. But yeah, Chelsea is still finding their way, I think, really. Tuchel's done an excellent job of making them defensively tight in the way that, if you keep the ball, the other team can't score against you. I think they've only conceded 2 goals since he came in the league.
Yeah, I actually have defensive stats ready to go, so when I get to I'll
excuse me,
all that
I believe you let me go first. Right?
Okay.
Let me, for once, be nice and kind about something you love, all right?
I'm just so not used to that it's very concerning to me. The rug is going to get pulled out in a second, I know.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just setting you up for a fall. But, they had the great result and kept a clean sheet against Atletico. You've got Atletico this week?
Yeah, Wednesday.
Again. So a lot to concentrate on. And, points is points. And I think if Chelsea are going to give Tuchel this grace period to sort out the issues they had under Lampard, which was the defensive solidity and knowing what they're doing, and he can then find out his pieces in an attacking sense, because there has been a lot of rotation, a lot of pieces that are starting to make sense. However, in what combination, we're not quite sure yet. But I'm sure you'll go into more detail about that. But they need to give him that time, and that's fair. Whether that then means that next season is like a one-shot, because he is on an 18-month contract, I think.
Yeah, they both sides have an option to extend. So it could be another year after that.
On average, I mean, Chelsea, you
14
get 14 months. So.
Yeah, exactly. So 18 is the perfect amount.
So, it's, there's a lot going on, and I think you can't really judge their results, but I think there was a lot of bad luck. More rebounds, ricochets, those kind of things. Kai Havertz, not quite necessarily, I would say, having all the qualities of a number 9 apart from that absolute killer instinct, I would say at the minute. Pulisic was an absolute demon on the right.
Yeah, and he's usually not good on the right, too, which is, like, surprising.
So, yeah, that's all I got to say. So, yeah.
All right, well, I mean, Chuck, you mentioned the defense there. I'll just throw out some numbers that I happened to put together over the weekend just because I was curious. Like, genuinely, I wasn't like, oh, this is going to be amazing. I was just like, I think this might be a thing. So, in the Premier League, since the arrival of Tommy Tukes, here are Chelsea's matches in terms of expected goals allowed. So you talked about the defense being really good. We had 0.6 versus Wolves, 0.4 versus Burnley, 0.6 at Spurs, 0.6 at Sheffield, 0.4 versus Newcastle, 0.5 at Southampton, 0.4 versus Man United, 0.3 versus at Liverpool, 0.3 versus Everton, and 0.4 at Leeds. So 3 teams that would be considered part of the traditional Big Six, 4 teams that are in the top 6 or 7 right now, and not a single match have we conceded more than 0.6. Which is, for the record, if you project those numbers over the course of an entire season, 17 goals conceded in an entire season. These are like...
That is ridiculous.
Title-winning numbers, genuinely, because also if you project the expected points since Tommy Tukes took over, 87 expected points, that would be the 3rd best expected points ever since we've started collecting data in the last, 7 years.
And we're not even talking about Chelsea firing yet.
No, exactly, yeah. The XG numbers are not as good. There's been a few in the 2.5 range. Most of them unusual. I'll just rattle them off quick. 0.6, 1.4, 2.4, 1.6, 2.5, 1.5, 1.2, 1.2, 2.6, and 1.0. So we have actually doubled our opponent's XG every single match except for the first one against Wolves. And genuinely, 87 points, if it wasn't for City's historic run in the last couple of years, 87 points would be all-time great form. So we look fantastic under Tuchel. These numbers are genuinely title-winning numbers. I really, really, really have an eye on winning either the league or the Champions League next year. And if we don't, that's going to be set up as a success. We said that as a failure, sorry. We said that at the start of this year with all the money that they spent. So that's frustrating, but that they are doing so well is great. The flip side of that, though, as you guys both have mentioned in the past and this week, the attack isn't looking completely there yet. The last couple of games we've tried having Kai Havertz as a sort of 9 of sorts. In one press conference, he said, I don't see him as a true 9, I see him as a 9/10, so a false 9. And then 2 days later, he was like, yeah, no, he's a true 9. So Tommy's
not confusing at all. Fuck's sake,
right.
Mate, pick a lane.
I still think he's getting to know the players. I think that this match against Leeds was pretty bad in terms of the attacking output compared to the last few, coming off the back of Liverpool and Everton especially. But I also think that if Timo Werner got rotated out, probably with Atletico in mind, right? A lot of players got rotated. Timo Werner has the 4th most expected goals plus expected assists or expected goal involvement in the Premier League per 90 this year, if you filter out obviously for 1,000 minutes, right? So Timo Werner is the 4th most attacking, creative / threatening player in the league. So you take him out, it makes sense that our number is going to fall off. Because it seemed to be a lot of times where it's a Timo Werner shaped hole in our attack of where he should be doing things, but no one was there doing those things. But I think we're fucking great, man. I think we're getting better. I think he's starting to unlock different best positions for people. He played Pulisic in a really weird sort of right wing back type role. Pretty much the same thing he's been doing with Callum. So whatever the hell Chile was doing on the left side, that's what Pulisic was doing. No one's really sure what to call it. But we're converging. I think this Wednesday is a huge test. Probably by the time this comes out, people will either be watching that or have seen it. But if we can beat Atletico twice, once at their own ground and once at our ground, and not by fluke, not by accident, that to me seems like a real marker. Totally separate from each other. The double pivot and 538 both have Chelsea as the 4th best team in the world right now, about even with Barcelona. City are far and away the best team in the world. Munich are 2nd, a bit of a drop-off. And then from there, there's a bit of a pack. But Chelsea and Barca are basically 3A and 3B at this point in the world. So that's pretty fucking cool because that feels about where Chelsea should be. I came into being a Chelsea fan at a time when we were one of the 2 big English teams, one of the 5 best teams in the world. So it's nice to be getting back to that. And I do think that there's a lot of cool stuff going on. I am worried that we're going to have to sell one of our shiny attacking players and that it's going to end up being Pulisic. Because I just think that there's like one or too many that can't all play together or fit in the same system. So that would be sad. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it was a boring match. So we've talked a lot about a boring match already. But they're great. Good times. Good times at Chelsea Island.
Leeds are tired, innit?
They will be playing on that fucking ploughed field.
Oh my
mate,
God.
It's going to be draining. Bamford has taken to wearing rugby studs on it, and rugby studs are solid metal and probably about, I don't know, half a centimetre longer than regular studs. Like they're hefty.
Yeah, it reminds me of clips of like Maradona at the 86 World Cup, just like dribbling the ball and chunks of grass along the way. All right, well, from one miles offside team to another, we have Crystal Palace 1, West Bromwich Albion 0, or is it just Bromwich Albion? I think they lost their West, if I recall correctly. So, Crystal Palace versus
Did they lose
Brom.
to Brighton as well, so they're just Bromwich? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They're just Brom now. Crystal Palace 1.3 to Brom's 0.5.
Brom.
Chuck, take it away. 1-0 Palace win. You feel good?
Why do I have to take it away? Fuck's sake. I didn't
You're
watch.
the fucking Palace fan.
Oh, brilliant. Worst team in the league, and you scrape by it with a penalty. Oh, God. I don't know. I should be happy. This is the year that makes the least amount of sense to anything ever, because I genuinely, and it's not even churlish, like the genuine reason is that I stopped doing it. And I had like an argument with my mum, weirdly, the other week about it. Because she's saying, why aren't you watching them? Because you support them. I was like, because I get nothing back at the moment. I get nothing. And it winds me up and it makes me sad, because it's like, I want to watch something that's entertaining and be entertained, right? If I endure this, that's just kind of what I look for in life. Whatever. If you don't think I'm not a proper fan, that's absolutely fine. You can crack on. But I can watch us play the most abject, boring, dull football we've ever played. Absolutely fucking turgid, making no real progress, dealing with everything. And then you look at the league table and we're like 11th, and we're on 37 points after 29 games, which is our best points total at this point ever. And you're like,
oh my gosh.
But then it's like the reason for this is just like, it's not sustainable. It's just not. And I think Palace fans are kind of realising that flying by the seat of your pants and massively basically being the new Burnley, because I'm pretty sure this season we are overperforming by more points than Burnley, and I think we did last year as well. But you're going into now what will be, and I'll say it like we're safe. Like I'm not going to be churlish and say about the points. Like we need, Fulham are 11 points behind with 9 games left.
You would also need all of those other teams to catch you too. Like maybe in a weird world, Fulham will catch you, but not 7 other teams too. Like on top of that.
Yeah, but I think all the teams can look down there. Like you look at who's below us now, and Leeds, which fair enough, we should be above them because of being promoted. Wolves are there. You know, maybe if Raul Jimenez was in there, that probably wouldn't be the case, because I know they've had their problems. Southampton are 4 points below Palace now, after just going on a horrific run. Remember when they were top of the league?
For a day, yeah.
Burnley is still down there. Brighton, God bless them. Thanks a lot, guys. Mind the gap. And then you look just above us, so you're like, right, 4 points up hits Arsenal and Villa. 6 points up hits Liverpool. And then I look at stuff like that.
6 points. My word.
Now there's game in hand for Liverpool, whatever. So let's say it's 9 points. So you're telling me in mid-March we can be 9 points behind. Well, yeah, maybe not. But in mid-March, we can be 9 points behind the previous year's champions, and I can just be annoyed. I don't know. It's
understandable.
It's such a weird state of things, and I think it kind of lends itself into this year being a gimme. And I think the most annoying thing is probably that when there is this opportunity, and what's pissing off so much more is that there aren't more teams taking a chance. And actually capitalising on it. I mean, you still got some teams up in the mixer like Leicester, West Ham, Everton are still in the top 6. Granted, it may not be for long based on recent performances and results and whatever. But it kind of seems to me like it feels kind of like the Tottenham being in a 2-horse race and finishing 3rd when Leicester won the league. You know what I mean? It's like you finally get these opportunities and you have nothing to show for it, and you can only ride your luck for so long. In those kind of situations. So And I think it kind of applies to a lot of the teams in the league. And yeah, just kind of would like to start again and not have Roy Hodgson in charge, because all the guy aims for is 17th. That's just it. And that's what he categorises as success. So you've got to think of the impact in a dressing room. And you look at us last year coming into the season plus or whatever. You know, we had the first game back in game week 30 against Bournemouth, I believe, which we won. We then lost 6 games in a row and then drew 0-0 with Tottenham on the last day. And we were in the chance of finishing in a Europa League spot then. And so you wonder if that negativity has an effect and then how the clubs kind of move forward. But this year's a gimme. I think it's all about how we go next year for most of these teams, really. Palace, Arsenal, Liverpool, Tottenham. Like, if they perform this way at the start of next year, they aren't keeping their managers. They aren't, like, they'll get the gimme with no fans and these kind of things. But you imagine the atmosphere in those stadiums now and the kind of parity between when they're good and when they're bad, especially like Liverpool. Like, that's insane. To be in 8th with 10 games left.
And honestly, I think next season's going to be really fucking crazy too, because these guys are going to get like no time off this summer. The Euros start, what, the day after the Champions League final? Something like genuinely, like, there's no break from the season to the Euros. And it's not like they're going to push next season back to like start in October or some crazy shit. Like, these guys just aren't going to have had a break since that like lockdown period. Think about that. Think about how fucking crazy that is. By the end of next season, these guys will have been playing since the fucking lockdown. Absolute craziness. So I wouldn't be surprised if next season's table is also fucking batshit insane and doesn't make any sense. Have you lost, in a certain sense, the ability to get excited about Palace when they do a good thing? Like, this was your second best XG this year. You've only broken 1.0 twice since December, and this was one of those 2 times. So, like, this was them attacking. This was the best version of Palace that you get.
This was them attacking. I mean, I'm going to answer for Chuck here.
Please.
Because
anything.
I'm getting mine off Info Goal, but I've got an XG of 1.29 and 0.8 of that was a penalty. So their non-penalty XG was just below 0.5. And West Brom actually generated more. And when I watch Palace, because I try to watch Palace when they don't clash with Peterborough. I try to watch Palace occasionally, and it has been really rough going. It's really hard to watch. And I do wonder whether if fans had been in, whether there'd have been more on the team's back. Because as well, when you're a paying fan and you're going to watch it, I wonder whether that Hodgson wouldn't be under a lot more pressure, to be honest. I mean, this West Brom game, I had one shot inside the box that was Benteke in such a wide position that it generated 0.07 XG.
Oh, yeah, but that was a good shot, though, to be fair. It was a good save from Johnston. Thanks for reminding me about that.
Yeah, that's all right. You've got to take your positives, mate. But they're really struggling. And, I mean, hopefully with Zaha back, that will spark something. But
what's his deal? Is he out in the summer? He's like, isn't this his last year of his contract, right?
No, till 2023. He's not one of the 16 players that they mention every fucking week that we've got out of contract with the manager and the backroom staff and the bloody guys in the beverage stands and the program sellers. They're all out of contract. And
you might get a call up at this rate, Chuck.
Well, just judging off Chuck's body language, I think it's probably best if we move on from any and all Palace talk. Which means that it is time, Mr. Simpson. Please cue the jingle.
Ooh, they're better than they ought to be.
Burnley of the week.
That's right, it is Burnley of the week. We had Southampton 1, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. Gentlemen, Brighton got a win, and it was a Burnleying, technically, because it was 1.0 to 0.9. There were other bigger Burnleyings, but Brighton fucking won a match and outperformed their XG. It went against the XG result. Amazing times, gentlemen. Amazing times. Chuck, take it away, I guess. You probably have lots to say about Brighton.
I fucking hate all the South Coast teams. They're all shit. I'm so glad we're above both of these teams, though. That's outrageous. Brighton now only underperforming their expected points by just under 18 for the season. That is a whole West Brom. Just pop a West Brom in there. And Southampton need to have a look at themselves. Shout out to Hassan Hootle for when he was asked, do you think the performance was any good today? And he just went, no. Not having it. Crap. Yeah, fair enough. That's, fucking hell.
Yeah, what do you want him to say?
What a roller coaster it must be managing that team. Like going from first to now being 14th, getting done 9-0 again. Jesus. I don't really know what to say in this one. I really wanted Southampton to win. And now I'm hoping Fulham can go on an absolute madness. And Newcastle sort themselves out so Brighton go down, but I'm not really holding out much hope.
Just need a dunk injury and then you'll be all right.
Yeah, he's only doing that. But I mean, Brighton still have Newcastle and Sheffield United to play. So that's guaranteed 6 points. Although they do also have Man United, Everton, Chelsea, Leeds, Wolves, West Ham, Man City and Arsenal. So a lot of the traditional big teams. So fingers crossed they don't pull off some wonder wins in there and business can go as usual and we can get rid of the scum.
Leicester 5 to Sheffield 0. Leicester's 4.6 to Sheffield 0.09. Yes, I'm putting in the second decimal because they didn't even get to 0.1. Sheffield are crap. The Kelechi Iheanacho show, huh? Iheanacho's first hat-trick in the Premier League.
Yeah, thanks for the Mother's Day present, Kelechi, as he dedicated his post-match. That was for all the mums. So, Mum, if you're listening, no, I'm not getting you anything else.
That's why you haven't got a present?
Yeah, new manager bounce. What? That's working well, isn't it? Create an environment that means that Chris Wilder leaves. Oh, fucking hell.
Is it too late to get Wilder in to stop the rot, do you think?
What was the point in getting rid of him? Like, I don't
It's nuts.
understand. Do you guys? Like this season they've been, like, they haven't been great, granted. But you'd think at least, like, getting him promoted from League One, finishing, 11th, I think, last year? Something like that, on a shoestring. Like, what? Yeah. Because you decided to waste money on Rhian Brewster? That's what you're getting rid of him for? Like, I'd trust him to get him back up more than, Jason Tindall was there, who just got fired from Bournemouth, who was Eddie Howe's assistant before. So it's looking like he's going in, and potentially then, if Tindall's going in, maybe Eddie Howe is coming back in as a manager. Who knows? But I don't fancy that. Like, Bournemouth have a better squad in the Championship than Sheffield United have now, and that pains me to say. And he couldn't get them firing, so...
It does seem bizarre. It does seem like a bizarre choice, because he hadn't lost the dressing room. The players all seem to come out in quite heartfelt, like, tweets and stuff, and in post-match as well. So it's a hard one to work out, because they're not going to... a new manager is not going to save them, as you've discussed before. They need Champions League form to be able to stay up.
They don't need Champions League form now, mate.
Right, okay, it's title-winning form.
They need bloody Jesus after 3 days form.
They need Pep's Manchester City 100 XG last season form.
Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. So exactly. So it's you know, if there are any sort of smart business people involved in this, then they're going to be planning for how they get back up. And like Chuck says, the best chance of that would have been keeping Wilder.
Definitely.
It's insane to do it now.
You look at Norwich. Norwich were awful last year. Obviously, like, they started off well and then they just fell off an absolute cliff. They went down. They kept all of their squad apart from Godfrey and Jamal Lewis, so 2 defenders. Timu Puki's on 21 goals for the season, and they are 10 points clear at the top with 10 games left, I think. Something
you heard
like
it here first, folks. Timu Puki for your FPL teams next season. That will go. It invariably will go well.
For the first bit of the season, maybe.
Yeah, just the first 3 matches. Triple captain day 1.
It just goes to show. But everyone goes on about like the Rhian Brewster one, and we said at the time it was just a weird one because it was the kind of punt that probably a team in their position shouldn't really make. And so it's like you're putting pressure on this guy with signing him for 30 million when he's played 20 games. Do you think that would actually be a factor in getting rid of him?
It depends, I guess, how that all happened. Whether there was some sort of... I don't know the structure at Sheffield United. I don't know whether there's a director of football involved overseeing things, or Chris Wilder strikes me as the sort of manager who likes to be involved in everything. But yeah, I don't know really. I guess it depends. But I think that's probably, that transfer specifically does show that I'm not sure teams like Sheffield United should be looking for the bench players of teams higher up. A lot of clubs get success by looking down to the Championship or even further and plucking strikers who play all the time. Well, I do think of Ivan Toney going to Brentford.
25 goals. 25 goals in the Championship.
And equally, Ollie Watkins going from Brentford to Villa might not set the world alight, but he's certainly established himself as a Premier League striker. And maybe that's the way teams like Sheffield United should be looking, rather than looking upwards and going, who's not playing for Liverpool at the minute?
Yeah, well, the common link there is Brentford, who have notably one of the biggest analytic departments in all of soccer. So, like, that is genuinely, like, other than, like, maybe 10 teams in the world, the value of having an analytics department is being able to scout really good players for dirt cheap, because no one realizes that they're good. Everybody's read Moneyball or seen the movie. Like, you look for players that are discounted for various reasons, their age, where they're playing, their nationality, whatever the case may be. But you identify that underneath the surface that everyone is looking at, there are some underlying numbers there that really indicate that they're going to have a strong player. And so that is, like, if Sheffield United, Dave, want to succeed, maybe they shouldn't be throwing 30 million at a bad transfer. Maybe they should invest that 30 million into a fucking analytics department. Like, what? Pay me 500 grand. You keep your 29.5 million. Pay me 500 grand. I'll start an analytics department for you. Me and Dave. Like, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Genuinely though, like, I'm joking, but also, like, invest that money more intelligently than a bench player who turned out to be not that good, either in youth or in the scouting or whatever. And, like, that is the way forward for, like, smaller clubs. And yes, I say that knowing that, like, Sheffield are in the Premier League. They're still a smaller club.
To kind of round it off, and you mentioned about spending money, and to me, the much worse money spent was the 18.5 million. I forgot it was that much until I just Googled it now, that they paid Bournemouth for Aaron Ramsdale. And so I, in my head, thought that the downgrading keeper was huge. And then I looked at the stats, and yes, I'm right. So
it's lovely when that works out, isn't it?
It really is. It's great. And that's when I shout about it on this podcast. And we'll be doing a 48-page review and analysis and dissertation. But I took some of the stats from last season. We've mentioned it before, something called post-shot differential XG. Look it up, Google, whatever. Read, guys, come on. But Dean Henderson was the goalkeeper for Sheffield United last year. He was on loan from Man United, of course, and he's kind of starting to work his way to taking the top spot there. But last year, he faced 129 shots on target and saved 97. So that's a 75.2% save percentage, which was third in the league last year. I think top actually was Hugo Lloris, and I can't for the life of me remember second right now.
Probably Kepa.
We'll get to him, mate. Post-shot differential, which, Oscar, in a nutshell, correct me if I'm wrong, is, I can't remember what it is. What is it?
Okay. I'll do this very fast. Take all the shots that have ever been hit in similar situations that are specifically on target. So that's what XG does. Every shot that's ever been hit from there, what percentage goes in, that's the XG. This is now only looking at the shots from that same position that ended up on target. And then it throws in a couple extra variables for, like, where was the keeper relative to the ball? Like, did you hit it to the corner? Was he on the right side of the goal? Did you hit it to the left? Were there any defenders on the line? That sort of stuff. So it was originally meant to model or to measure how good of a finisher strikers are, because it looks like, okay, we know that it's on target. So now it's literally just measuring, like, the finishing. How well did you place your shot? Turns out not that useful for that. Love when that happens in data, but turned out to be really useful when you look at the expected goals versus post-shot expected goals differential to measure goalkeepers. Basically, how good are they at saving stuff? So that's what it is.
There you are. So basically, good score equal good goalkeeper. So for that stat, Dean Henderson was 6th in the league last year.
Okay.
So 3rd for save percentage, 6th in the league. Sheffield's Sheffield United, sorry Dave, their expected goals allowed was 47.9. They conceded 39. So an 8.9 positive for them. We then move on to Bournemouth, plucky little Bournemouth. Oh, Aaron Ramsdale faced 177 shots, so nearly 50 more on target, 120 saves, but his save percentage was 67.8%, which was 15th in the league. His post-shot differential was 15th in the league, their expected goals allowed were 57.5, and they conceded 65. So 7.5 goals more. If you wanted to know which goalkeeper had the lowest save percentage, that would be the Chelsea one. And if you would like to know the one that had the lowest XG differential, that would be the Chelsea one. 21st. 21st out of 21st in all those stats based on some sort of aggregate. But, so obviously the difference there in effect is they've gone from the 3rd and 6th best goalkeeper in the league to the 15th. And then this year, Aaron Ramsdale is 14th for save percentage, and he is 16th for post-shot differential. Their XG is 46.2, and they've conceded 50. So 3.8 goals to the worse, over obviously a slightly shorter sample size. But there's your direct link. If you're going to drop 13 places in stats for your goalkeeper,
and you're going to drop a whole lot of places,
you're going to drop a whole lot of places, whole lot of points. Goal, yeah.
I 100% stand by my take that we were basically as good as Liverpool last year, except that Kepa fucked us mostly. And that is how much difference a keeper can make. Like, look at, we've talked about it a bunch of times, but that season, what was it, 3 years ago now, I think? Like, when we first started the podcast, David De Gea got United to overperform their expected points, I think, by 20 fucking points in the table. And that was an all-time great keeper season, like one of the best keeper seasons that have ever been had ever. I mean, honestly, like, Chelsea's a great example. Look at us when Kepa was here versus us now that Mendy is. And Mendy's not even that good. Like, I like Mendy. He's done a very good job, but he's not, like, one of the best keepers in the league, I don't think. Curious to see what his post-shot expected goal differentials would be, but, like, that really is a huge, huge deal. So that's, like, a great shout, Chuck. And way more work than I would have been willing to do to analyze Sheffield, so...
Look, I had a hunch, and turns out I was right about something, and I'm going to shout about that. And if you really want to scratch the itch about Mendy, Oscar, post-shot XG per 90 differential, he is 14th.
Yeah, so he's not that good.
He's not, an amazing keeper, but obviously
but he's
Chelsea
not
are now
the worst keeper in the league by a whole lot, which is like...
Yeah, that's Matt Ryan this year, and shout out to Nipple Keeper for being the best.
There you go. Well, let's move on then to the big match of the weekend, arguably. Certainly the most entertaining in my opinion. Also the one I fell asleep through, though, so that doesn't bode well. But Arsenal 2, Tottenham 1. Arsenal 1.6 on XG to Tottenham's 0.7. Arsenal doing a big win in the big North London derby. How are you guys feeling about that?
How do I feel? I mean, genuinely, I feel nothing overall, but, you know... Convention dictates we should probably talk about it. Arsenal were better. Gareth Bale does not track back. Matt Doherty doesn't defend as well in a back four. Mm-hmm. And when
you would think putting them on the same side is a bad idea.
Yeah. And Arsenal done a good idea and attacked that side. Eric Lamela is like, cannot exist one way or the other. I feel like he has to offset the awesome with just the absolute stupid. And Lacazette, it shouldn't have been a penalty.
Okay, let's start with that, because I strongly disagree there. Very fucking clearly a penalty?
How?
Are you crazy?
How?
Let's see. The defender comes flying in with a judo kick and clears out the striker in the box.
Yeah, but the only reason he cleared out the striker is because Lacazette swings so wildly at the ball and skims it and kicks it off to the left miles away, and then swings his leg right across what would have been the route for the ball to the goal that Davinson Sanchez is in, kicks into Davinson Sanchez's foot, and then that's somehow a penalty? I don't know. Apparently VAR didn't overrule it because they didn't believe it was a clear and obvious error, and so I think it exists in that realm in which VAR would not tell him not to give it, and they also wouldn't tell him to give it if he hadn't, if you see what I mean. But no, I'm going to go with Jeff on this one, and that's not a penalty.
Oh, good. You're agreeing with Jeff. Clearly, you're going to be on the right there.
Well, this
Jeff,
is it. You're going to agree with Adam P.
I
So
love
you
Jeff
want
so much.
you get Adam P. It's battle of the punching bags. So,
Oh, jeez, that's true. That's true. No, I mean the fact that he makes contact or gets a shot off, whether it's a good shot or a bad shot, we say this all the fucking time. That does not affect whether something is a penalty or not. If it's a foul in the box, it is a penalty.
But I don't
That
feel
is
that
the
is a foul
rules.
because
That's
I don't
literally the
feel that the
rules.
contact is an impediment on there. That's where you fall into the realms then of there is contact in football, right? I don't want to get into the whole proper football because what I'm about and those kind of things, right?
We're
They're
on the
both
same page there.
kind of in the air. Lacazette swings wildly. Like, I think that is fully even. The ball's gone. Lacazette's not recovering from that. I reckon if Sanchez, I know it's, if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle and all that kind of rubbish, that if Sanchez wasn't there and the shot happened, would Lacazette have just fallen anyway? Like, probably, the height he was and flailing his leg at it. But I just think that's contact as a natural part of the game and hitting someone with your follow through of your kick, as it were. So it's
Ian, it looks like you're the tiebreaker here. Where are you at on this one?
I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was pretty reckless. It wasn't like endangering the player massively or anything, but I did think it was out of control enough to be considered a penalty. I think that if it was elsewhere on the field, I'd be happy with it being given as a free kick, so I ought to be happy with it being given as a penalty. It's one of them where whatever the ref said,
Yes.
VAR wouldn't have overturned it.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right, I say that and you don't agree vociferously, but Ian says it because he's on your side.
I was busy disagreeing with you,
Yes.
whereas I'm agreeing with Ian.
Fuck's sake, Jeff, you know who your favourite is now. I'm your favourite. Jeff, me and you against the world, buddy. We're going to Thelma and Louise out of this bitch.
The only reason I brought it up was to specifically say that the ref in the middle said it was a penalty. I'm perfectly happy with that not being overturned. That's just because it's part of my argument that I'm perfectly happy with it not being overturned, because I think you can say that Sanchez was possibly out of control and reckless. So I'm happy with it being a penalty, personally.
Can we go back for a second, though? Because speaking of things that are out of control there, I don't want Chuck to be the only one that gets to mention that fucking Rabona goal was out of control. It was ridiculous. Unbelievable. He somehow hit an outside of the boot shot with his left foot to the right of his right shoulder.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that thing had curl on it, and it came from a fucking Rabona, and it curled. He curled an outside of the boot shot. Like,
Yeah, that's pretty cool. But that was like the universe went, you had no right to do that. To do
Immediately corrected things.
Rabona
just short amount
nutmeg
of time later.
past David Luiz, who classically was an absolute fucking passenger for it, low, controlled along the ground into the corner. And so the final destination of it all was that he was going to get sent off. Like, he had
100%.
to.
Yeah.
Death had to take him like that.
Yeah, I believe we call that an Eric Lamela hat trick. Like, a beautiful goal and 2 yellows. So.
Yeah. And you can't say, this is where I think I disagree with Jeff, probably. But, and Jermaine Genus, oh my God, on Match of the Day 2, was hilarious because he was saying, his argument basically boiled down to, at one point, which I thought he'd lost the plot, was because Eric Lamela hasn't been sent off in the past, he shouldn't have been sent off there because there's no evidence that's the way he played, so that was his intention. I was like, mate, I'll listen to you on a lot of subjects and I enjoy you and think you're great, but don't come into it with that sort of bullshit.
It was strange, yeah.
Just because he hasn't been caught before doesn't mean he can't do it now. What? That was an absolute madness. And he bit so hard on Martin Keown with a simple misunderstanding where he thought Keown said Arsenal deserved the penalty when actually he said like Arsenal deserved it, but he was referring to the game as a balance of play. And Genus just bit so fucking hard.
It was good.
It was like, I got my popcorn out. It was great. But yeah, he deserved that. He's an absolute idiot. He knew what he was doing. My opinion is he has that in his game, the Diego Costa kind of level that he
He could have had a few yellows.
Walk the line, and that's what some people were saying, that like it was coming and it made sense. And Mourinho just kind of looked more pissed off at Lamela, I think, than whatever. But I think this is the frustration that you get with Tottenham, as we've mentioned before, that like you come off of some great results and what have you, and then you just get that.
Great results against bad teams, though.
Hey, you can only play what's in front of you.
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, but they played Arsenal.
What I'm saying is, they should. They're looking down on Arsenal at the league, and yet they played like they were playing Man City, like they were scared of them.
Well, let's not forget that Heung-min Son going down early with an injury.
Yeah,
it's
that's
huge for them. Their attack doesn't work without both Son and Kane. Like, if either of those pieces is missing, they have no fucking threat. Because neither of them can do it by themselves, and Jose Mourinho has built this team so that everything runs through those two guys. I mean, we talked about this earlier in the season. I said if either of them cools off, Tottenham are fucked. Now they both cooled off, and now Son is hurt too. I don't know how long he's hurt for. I haven't heard any.
He will no doubt have a scan, but it looked like a hamstring. He was sprinting and then pulled up. So I think that's going to be a few weeks, isn't it?
Always is. You just know, looking at it, like I have no medical qualifications whatsoever, but that's...
Yeah, but you do know. He walked off the pitch, which suggests it's not going to be months. But at the same time...
We've seen players walk off the pitch and then literally miss months with hamstring stuff.
I know, but it didn't... Well, all I mean is he didn't hit the deck or anything, He didn't immediately sort of start waving and collapse. It seemed like a twinge, and
he stayed up the whole time. Yeah, you're right.
All right, well, before we move on, shout out to Arsenal's kids who genuinely looked really good. I don't know any of their names. They all looked about 12, but they played really, really well. And then,
Emil Smith-Rowe.
Sure. And Saka and Tierney and Odegaard, all of them. There's a bunch of guys. I do know their names.
And Aubameyang not being played because he was late in traffic, I believe.
Did you not think that shows a bit of strength from Arteta in the North London derby?
Mm-hmm.
Your player is late, apparently not the first time he's done it, and you go, right, well, you're not playing then.
Yeah.
That shows a fair bit of strength.
And the man drives a fucking Aventador. Like, come on, put your foot down, lad.
Well, given his form this year, maybe a blessing in disguise that he was late and had an excuse to bench him because it went pretty well for them.
Well, not the last 5 games. He's been quite good again, but
sure.
Yeah.
But in general,
no, I think you're right. I think that's the right stance you have to take from Arteta. That this is what it means, and especially because of what Oscar just said, is that you do have a lot of young players
right
at Arsenal at the minute that
exactly
are doing the business for them, and fair enough. So you're like, mate, if you're going to be on the way out or on the downward curve in terms of age, then you crack on, mate. It's Arsenal as well. They're not shy of letting players go for free that they've paid a fuckload of money for.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly.
See Mesut Ozil.
And shout out Granit Xhaka, who did a Rabona pass in midfield to someone about a foot away with no defenders around 5 minutes after Lamella's goal.
Nice.
He was like, "Oh, we're doing Rabonas? I could do one."
I'd done that in a 5-a-side game once just to take the piss. Everyone laughed at me like, "Mate, what the fuck are you doing? We're losing." I was like, it's funny.
There you go. All right, well, speaking of losing, this one was for all the Uniteds, and so they are now just Ham, because I believe they also lost their West at some point. So we have Ham and Brom. They both lost the West. Where did that West go? No one knows. Unknown. But we have
West.
Manchester United 1, West Ham 0, Manchester United 1.7 to Ham's 0.5. Ham falling off a cliff here, man. They were like in the top 4. Oh, definitely going to make the Champions League, better than blah, 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 blah. And now they're down to what?
Who was saying they were definitely making the Champions League? Was that me? Not
Moyes.
me.
I think Moyes was.
Yeah, lots of people were. They are now down to 22% to qualify according to 538, despite being in 5th with, I believe, a game in hand. With a game in hand on Chelsea. But, just given their underlying numbers and everything about them, seems unlikely to happen anymore for Ham, formerly of West. But let's talk about Manchester, formerly of United, currently of United. 1.7. Looking good. Puts them at 95% for the Champions League. That's pretty fucking solid. Yeah, I mean, they've got a 6-point lead on Chelsea in 4th.
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, I suppose.
And, they have been the 3rd best team by the underlying numbers, so it's not likely that anyone will catch up to them anyway.
Yeah.
They're almost certainly going to finish in 2nd at this point.
Yeah, I have to readjust my pre-season thoughts. That's the problem. I've got to readjust.
Pre-season, current season, right now, post-season, any of the thoughts. No, because I don't really want to accept that Solskjaer is doing a good job.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
Oh, thanks, mate.
You can have both. I don't think he's doing that good of a job.
Cool.
I think he continues to just be like, here's the ball, here's some players, figure it out.
Vibes. Luke Shaw and fucking vibes, mate. Luke Shaw and vibes.
Exactly. Luke Shaw and vibes.
Just underlining it. 3 exclamation marks.
Just again. It worked last time. Do it again.
Man, I just want to watch Paul Pogba do things. And this guy's been at Man United for how many fucking years now?
Where is he?
Genuinely don't know. Is he hurt?
Mino's kept him prisoner because he wants him to sign to PSG and pocket a load of fucking cash.
All right, well, if you go to Ben Dinnery's website, premierinjuries.com, it has Paul Pogba as a thigh injury on March 12th. We hope maybe before the break, but I'm not sure. It is taking a little bit longer than we expected. That's the most recent update on him. So that's where Paul Pogba is.
A little bit longer than expected. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
To convince him to go to a different club.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be gone, and fair enough.
That's a wrap on fixtures. So let's go to FPL. Chuck, how's your FPL team doing?
No. Ian, how's your FPL team? Defense wins championships. Only players who have scored any fucking points for me this week or appeared.
Or indeed appeared. I'm doing okay. I captain Salah as a sort of last chance saloon. So we'll see what happens in this match. I'm sort of watching closely.
I forgot I had Jota.
There you go.
Just seen. That's nice.
There you go then. But I had Stones and Cancelo, so I'm having a lovely old time.
Is that basically your whole team's points?
Yeah, pretty much. They got 26 out of my 44, so yeah.
Yeah, my defence would be really great. So Martinez, naturally, I played Martinez against Newcastle because you would. But 3 points for him. But Edouard Mendy on 9 points on my bench. Ruben Diaz, 6. Luke Shaw, 9. Rudiger, 6. Dallas is coming off the bench because with 6 points because Gundo and De Bruyne did not play. My captaincy switches to Kane, big old 2 points. Saka, 1, injured. Bamford, 1, injured. Kai Havertz, cursed. He's got the Werner curse now. 3 points. And yeah, I've got Jota playing, and Willy Bolly is coming in as well. So they kind of offset each other though. So yeah, I had a really good points last week. I beat you by 30 odd. And I thought, oh, that's nice. Cuts the deficit to 60. That's manageable. Nah, gone.
Never mind. Let's hope. Sorry, I'm being distracted because Wolves have got an attack going. It's not Willy Bolly though, so don't worry. No, it's come to nothing. Right. Sorry. I'm obsessed with doing this live commentary as if people won't listen to it fucking 2 days later going, what is this prick on about?
Yeah. And you could do it better. Wolves attack. It's not Willy Bolly. Oh, it's over.
It's harder than it looks, turns
Can't
out.
see you replacing Motson. Does he? If he even still does it. Even if he's still alive.
Still better than Tony Gale, I'll say.
Yeah, probably. Players, balls. So and fantasy, there's a well-reduced game week coming in it, so there's only four games.
Lots of blanks. There'll be lots of hits thrown around of people getting players in to cover the blanks they haven't realised are happening. But
yeah, and all the good players are injured. So
yeah,
brilliant.
the stats robots have 5 players playing next week. And 2 of them are Bamford and Son. So,
okay. Yeah.
Kane, Harrison, and Kanza. Looking like we're going to need some points out of those guys.
Perfect. Roll that out. Triple captain.
Captain Harrison, job done.
Not a terrible week this week, though, for once. We got the 46 points, so even slightly ahead of Mr. Stimson over there, plus a point coming off the bench.
Okay.
What is this? This is some sort of fucking end of days shit.
And the Stats Robots team's doing well.
An obviously quite failed experiment, the stats robots.
So,
Can it be a ghost team yet? Can I stop doing these transfers? No one's watching this team.
Admin.
Oh dear. Right, shall we move on then?
Let's go, bluff, bluff!
Well, let's start with a new feature called Chuck Bailey Investigates.
I am riveted. I don't know anything about this.
Chuck Bailey here. You may have watched, or listened rather, to last week's Bluffer categories and the chaos that ensued with Oscar's, quite frankly, poor choice of categories. Upon investigation of one Mr. Jeffrey Pedder, of the detail that was provided to Oscar Puente, we found many anomalies and confusion following the Armageddon scandal. So, Oscar, you probably won't have done your due deal on this, but I might have found out, mate, why the list made no sense. That's because you were on user ZCJ858's list of 75 Bruce Willis films. So an arbitrary number just selected of films with Bruce Willis, and then put in there. Jeff told me that he gave you box office. You switched to IMDb rating. And Armageddon was in 21st, and 2 of the films that were above, one Bruce Willis made an uncredited cameo and is listed as the last member of the credits on IMDb. And another of the films features approximately 50 celebrities appearing as themselves, of which Bruce Willis is one. So, do your due diligence next time, buddy.
Just some random bloke's fucking list of Bruce Willis films that he happens to have remembered.
Yeah.
Look, I had mRNA and Microsoft tracking chips coursing through my veins, had woken up 5 seconds before from a crazy nap, and didn't realize I was going to be recording that week. So I stand by my bluffer. Thank you very much.
Another thing I've forgotten. You can play the music again if you want, Ian, but the yeah, right, just pop it as a bed. The players' minutes. The 2 of you apparently had quite a long discussion about which players to include.
Yes.
And you weren't going to include goalkeepers and defenders in this. And
Correct.
Then you decided not to include goalkeepers at your behest and did not decide to relay that information to one Ian Stimson.
Yeah, that one's on me. I just forgot to say that before you... And I tried to fix it. I was like, Ian, I can take 4 off or 5 off your bid if you want, assuming you were counting the 5 keepers as among your number. Look, I gave you guys a chance to redo the bidding. I told Ian I could take some guesses off the top there.
We can't redo the bidding. It's...
I own that one. The Bruce Willis thing I stand by, because fuck it, whatever. But
Armageddon should have been an answer in that weird thing. Or like this explains. I had a conversation with you for about half an hour afterwards, and I couldn't find the list you were looking at. And turns out you used a bespoke list from a bloke on an arbitrary rating system that anyone can fucking be a part of. And I won't stand for it anymore. So please, just read the status orders.
I had a text from a friend that said, "Well done surviving the bluffer despite Oscar only giving you part of the question. King Caveat would have been up in arms if it was him bidding."
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I would have stormed off. No way.
Get that person on the pod.
Yeah.
I love how he said he has a friend when we all know it's just him texting himself.
If it's not one of us, it's Kelly.
God bless her.
And even then, friends a stretch. Oh, loveless.
All right, easy.
Oh, I've had a rum. Right, Bluffer, go on. Do the music.
Bluffer time. Make a guess. Take a guess.
Can't
Make
just
a
let me
bluff.
do it, can it?
Bluff you.
Right, so the Bluffer is a game where we ask questions with multiple answers, and the 2 competitors bid for how many they can get. And then when someone outbluffs the other one, they have to name that many answers. That was an explanation of sorts.
That was great. Don't doubt yourself, mate. You're doing a great job.
That was fine.
We're all equally shit at this game and also equally good at this game.
I think we're all equally shit at hosting is the real problem.
That might be the issue.
Speak for yourself. Oscar, you've got a lot of ground to make up after last week, mate.
I invented the game, so I'm okay. I think it's...
Brilliant.
I'm still in the green.
Then the student became the master in my case. And I'm really worried and would like to just pause it. We can talk about it off air later, but what happens if we draw at the end of the season? Because we have to have all presented at least one to make it equal. And our scores since we went to 4-all have gone 5-all, 6-all, 7-all. And now Ian's on 8.
It's 7-6-6 at the minute.
Okay, right. Well, there we go. It's going to go 7-all because chances are I'll win today somehow, and then Oscar will win mine.
I'm going to shoot myself in the foot in about 5 minutes. Or an expression with less guns to people in other countries.
You've already made that joke once.
It's still an expression.
I know.
It's fine.
Oh, is it? Okay, good. All right. Well, I'm going to shoot myself in the foot in a couple of minutes, and then Chuck's going to get the point for sure. I think Nate can just decide. Nate can do his own bluffer at the end of the season, our one and only producer lover Patreon. If we're in a tie, Nate gives us 3 categories.
3-way bluffer.
Yeah, 3-way bluffer, for sure.
Saucy.
I've been dying to have a 3-way with you guys for months.
Lockdown's been tough on us all.
Options are limited. Okay.
Other threesomes are available.
So let's go with... I am going to let Oscar bid first. And you are bidding actually separate questions, but they're for your
7.
own club. So you can bid 7 if you like.
7.
Hang on, what?
Oh, yeah, all will become clear. I want to know the top 15 Premier League era goal scorers for your respective clubs. So, Oscar, you're bidding for Chelsea.
Oh.
And
okay.
Chuck, you're bidding for Crystal Palace.
I think I'd do better with Chelsea, please. Can I have Chelsea?
Well, they've certainly got more goals. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So, Oscar, first bid, top 15 Premier League goal scorers for Chelsea. Oscar.
7.
7.
Genuinely.
Top 15 Premier League goal scorers for Crystal Palace.
8.
Do you actually know 8, Chuck?
Well, it's the good thing when we haven't been in the Premier League long and they've all happened during my lifetime.
Yeah, that's true. About half of mine are from the before I was a fan days.
And we don't have a lot of good players, so they tend to stick in the memory.
Yeah. Yeah, I can go 9, I think. And 10 is the most names I can think of, and I don't even know if they're all on there, so if you bid 10, it's all yours. I'm just letting you know. Like, honestly.
Puts it all out there lately, Oscar.
Mind games.
Yeah, the problem I have is that the range of the Palace players will be a lot less.
About 12 yards.
Than the correct. And the fact that there are players that have played for us for 2 seasons that could be in this number.
Yeah,
with 3 goals. Like 3 goals is in your top 15 ever.
Do you want me to tell you that?
Yo-yo.
The 15th player for Chelsea has got 34 goals.
And the number 1 player for Palace has 33.
And the 15th player... Actually, that's a good comparison. Let's have a look. 15th player for Chelsea has got 34 goals. The second place player for Crystal Palace has got 28.
Oh, okay. So nobody with 150 for Palace? Like there's no Lampard over there?
Funny that. I will let you take the 9 with the caveat that I think I could get 9 for Chelsea, but I don't think I could get 9 for Palace. I have 3 names written down. Ian saying that gives me another 4 names potential.
Ian, let me know when you're ready.
Yeah, go.
I know the top 3, like, automatic.
Yeah, okay, go for it.
Lampard, Drogba, and Hazard are the top 3. Then I'm pretty sure before my days Zola was number 1, so I'm going to say Zola.
5th place, 59 goals.
I know John Terry is hilariously way far up the list.
8th place, 41 goals.
Wow.
Yeah. He's like the most goals for any defender, I'm pretty sure. Diego Costa and Nicolas Anelka, I know are floating around.
Yes. And yes. Costa is 7th with 52 and Anelka 9th with 38. 2 more.
Surely Willian has more than 30 whatever. He was player of the season twice, and he was here for a while. I'm going to say Willian. Yes, Willian is on the list.
10th place, 37 goals. 1 more.
Oh, and this is where I'm punting. I don't know if he's going to be on there for goals. I know he would be for assists, but I think because of that 2010 season, when we did 103 goals, I'm going to say Florent Maluda was heavily involved that year, and he's likely to be on the list.
14th with 35 goals, Florent Maluda.
14th?
Yep.
Oh, man,
Very
that's
good,
scary.
mate.
2 questions for you. Joe Cole?
Joe Cole's 18th. So if he would have been your next guest, that would have been you gone.
Solomon Kalou, question mark?
Kalou is joint 11th, 36 goals.
And then Gudjonsson. Those are, I'm out of names there.
Gudjonsson is 6th, 54.
Oh, okay, wow. He's higher up than I thought. I knew he was, like, good, but I didn't know that he was that high.
I'll fill in the rest from the bottom. 15th was Torre Andre Flo with 34 goals.
Michael Essien.
Essien, no, not on.
No, I just like saying his name.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
John Spencer, joint 11th, 36 goals. Gustavo Poyet, also joint 11th.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And I think you got everyone else except 4th with 69 goals.
Di Matteo?
No.
Is it before my time? I'm guessing it's before my time. No one would have gotten 70 goals since I've been watching.
Now a manager in League One. Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
fucking hell.
That's before my time for sure.
I always forget Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He won the Golden Boot as well.
Do you want to stab at any Palace ones?
Palace, Zaha's first.
Zaha's first.
Andrew Johnson second.
No.
Is he not?
Milivojevic.
Luka Milivojevic.
Yeah.
So if our top was... What's Zaha on? Like
45 goals.
45. So Milivojevic will be in there because it's at least 22. So Benteke will probably be in there.
Benteke's third.
Third.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ.
Right, I'll just put...
So if John Terry's in there for Chelsea, is Scott Dan in there for Palace?
Scott Dan is in there, joint 9th on 13 goals.
Patrick Van Arnholt.
Again, joint 9th, yeah.
Andrews Townsend?
Joint 9th. There you go. You've got all the three who are on 13 goals, yeah.
Jeffrey Schlupp.
Schlupp is joint 13th, yeah.
Jordan Ayew?
Jordan Ayew is 12th. Yeah, you would have done all right based on this, yeah.
Would Johan Cabaye be in there?
Cabaye is, yeah, joint 13th as well, yeah, 9 goals.
Shit, I could have done well on the Palace list. It's because there's not many to choose from. I'm just like, who's ever scored a goal for Palace? They're probably on the list.
Well, it's because we were in the inaugural season, got dropped, lost a load of players, came back in 94, 95, lost a load of players, came back 97, 98, lost a load of players, came back 2002, 2003. You know what I mean? So there's...
Yeah.
Because there's big changes, that chances are there's not crossover of players.
Yeah, true.
And then obviously the recent era, that means that a player that we've had for 3.5 years, Milivojevic, is in the... What did you say he was?
Second, 28 goals, yeah. I'll fill in the gaps then. 4th was Chris Armstrong with 23.
He used to live opposite me when I was a kid. Yep.
Okay. 6th was James MacArthur, 17. Joint 7th was Dwight Gale. And Jason Punchin.
Peterborough legend.
With 15, yeah, ex-Peterborough legend, yeah. And then I think you pretty much got everyone else, apart from maybe Yannick Bolasie, who was joint 13th as well.
Oh, Bolasie.
Oh, yeah, of course.
But,
that's a good name.
You got everyone else.
What was 15th for number of goals, or the bottom of the range?
They were joint, 3 of them were on joint 13th, and that was Bolasie, Cabaye and Schlupp on 9. 16th was Glenn Murray, though, on 8.
Yeah, poor Muzzer, 30 goals in the Championship, and then injured forever.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So point to Oscar.
Oh shit! I forgot with this points involved. Fuck! I need to win this. Right, okay.
Yeah, that's a point to Oscar.
I was having a lovely conversation, remembering good things about my football team.
Okay, so this will be Chuck's bid for the second question, and I am looking for basically the Oscar nominations are out this week.
Shit.
So I am looking for all of the winners of the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. Now, that only started being given out in 2002. So there are 19 films that have won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature. So, Chuck, how many can you get?
What does Oscar always bid? 7.
Yeah.
Oh, stealing my bid. How rude. I'll steal yours. 9.
Okay, you can have it, because I don't have 1.
Well, shit, what's the category?
We are playing blind bluffer, apparently, right?
Yeah, I genuinely, I have zero way of do 9.
I know the last 2, and the rest are going to be punts.
Okay,
so
that's good.
Congrats, Chuck, on the point. Toy Story 4. Spider-Verse, Into the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh, that's good, that one, Oscar. Nice. I'm happy with that.
And then from here, I'm just going to say Pixar movies.
Yeah, okay.
Coco.
Well, you're going backwards because that's 2018, so yeah.
Inside Out.
2016.
Toy Story 3.
2011, 4 more.
I didn't do it in order, prick.
Frozen. Gotta be Frozen. Right?
2014.
Let's keep the Pixar thing going up.
2010. 2 more.
Wall-E.
2009. Last one.
When did Shrek come out? What year did this start? How far back are we going?
2002 award for 2001 films.
Ooh, but I know Shrek came out in 01. Fuck me. Oh, did Shrek win the first one? Or did they go for some Chuck, should I say Shrek or not?
Oh, I really don't care. Sorry.
Yeah, fuck it. Shrek. I know Shrek was 01. I swear to God, if I missed the cutoff by a year, I'm going to be so mad. Yes! Get in!
Yeah, Shrek was the first animated feature winner of the Oscar.
Bit of trivia for that. That's good to store that away for someday.
Yeah.
Shrek was the first ever winner.
Basically, they seem to bring in the category when it's expanded away from Disney being the only producer of animated films. So there was lots more of them and different companies producing them. So pretty
much every Pixar movie except for Cars has won it.
Well, even Cars 2?
The Cars series, I should say. Which, underrated, Cars 1 at least should have won.
Cars 1's fine. Cars 2 is
terrible.
Awful.
Shut up, mate. You just couldn't follow the plot.
I couldn't follow the plot. It's industrial espionage. How do you expect a kid to follow that? It's a ridiculous plot. Cars 3's fine.
Mate, I enjoyed all the trade blockades in episode 1. So, you know what I mean? Like, maybe it just speaks to me as a consumer.
Okay.
Ian, I have a few more guesses. Can I throw some out?
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Incredibles.
Yes, The Incredibles 2005.
Wreck-It Ralph.
No, I love Wreck-It Ralph though.
Nah, it's fine.
Maybe it's one of them things that I watched it with Finley, and it's one of the first films he really attached to. So maybe that's more of a sentimentality pick.
Ratatouille.
Ratatouille 2008. Yep.
There you go. That's all I got though. Chuck, do you have any more?
Moana.
No, Moana did not win.
What?
Fucking riot. Genuinely, I was like, well, I should have just gone Pixar films, and I probably would have said Toy Story. I don't know, what, Toy Story 2, Toy Story 3, Toy Story 4.
Toy Story 2 was too old.
Yeah,
that was 99,
Toy Story
I think.
3 and 4, you were okay.
Yeah.
So the ones you didn't get were 2003, Spirited Away.
Oh. Never would have guessed
2004, Finding Nemo.
Which isn't that good.
Or Spirited Away.
I mean, Spirited Away, yeah, if you like anime, yeah, crack on with a bit of Ghibli. Finding Nemo is like, yeah, it's pretty dull.
2006, Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit.
Jesus Christ, yeah. Fair enough.
Really? 2006 must have been a rough year.
It's because the amount of work that goes into it. It's all hand done, isn't it? Stop motion. So that's why they give it to Wallace and Gromit.
Oh, and that would have been right after the writer's strike. The 06 Oscars were like a sketchy year.
That might explain a lot because, Corpse Bride and Howl's Moving Castle were nominated. And
Oof. No, Howl's Moving Castle, same as Spirited Away.
Okay. 2007 was Happy Feet. And then you got them other than 2012, Rango.
Oh, really? Rango?
Apparently, yeah.
That had to have beat something better than it.
I'm not sure it did. The other nominees were A Cat in Paris, Chico and Rita, Kung Fu Panda 2, and Puss in Boots. So another rough year.
Oh, okay. That's not a good year.
Kung Fu Panda 2, Rob there.
2013 was Brave.
I almost said that, but I wasn't sure if it was Pixar or not.
And 2015 was Big Hero 6, which I love. Absolutely love that film.
Love that movie. Love.
And the only other one I think...
Zootopia? Is Zootopia there?
Zootopia 2017.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
and that was a fucking strong year. Moana was in that year.
Moana was better than Zootopia. Zootropolis, whichever country you're in.
Yeah, I think you got a shout there.
No, don't no. Yes.
Kubo and the Two Strings, which is one of my favourite films as well. That's a really good film.
Yep, and Regina Spektor with While My Guitar Gently Weeps on the soundtrack.
Such a good cover. Oh
fucking A, man.
Wow,
we're such
so
hipsters.
much.
Chuck is like rolling his eyes.
It's so good, though. It's so good. I'm going to have to listen to that immediately.
Willy Bolly just had a shot.
Did he? Cheeky little sausage.
Yeah. Carry on, sorry.
That's it. That's all of the.
Oh, right, okay.
That's all of the films. Yeah.
Oh well, that's good. Well, at least my sacrifice of being shit this week means that we can't go 777.
Do you want to take us through the incredibly short fixture list, Chuck?
Yeah, I can actually do it in one breath this week.
Great.
Friday deadline, Friday 19th of March. You've all played your free hits or you've done a load of pointless shit. Points hit transfers anyway. Friday 19th, 6:30 deadline. Fulham versus Leeds. Up the Fulham. Fuck Leeds. Then we got Brighton, Newcastle. Let's go to an army. And West Ham, Arsenal on Sunday. Aston Villa, Spurs also on Sunday. I don't really know should we say more about those games?
I am planning on watching 0 of those games in preparation for this podcast because I'm hoping that we just don't bother talking about the soccer.
No, Fulham are going to win. You know, we'll do it for Saphira Gold. Fucking hell, delay on that.
That's delay on the Skype. It'll be perfect in the edit.
Because you've changed the time.
Yeah, of course I will.
Always believe. What's going on? Scott Parker's coat blazer. What? Just play the music while we have this discussion. Bad for time. Fuck it. Is that? Is it a coat? Is it a blazer? It's padded.
It's strong. I like it.
What do we?
Did it win our poll? Remember we had the...
No, I think it came second.
He wouldn't get my poll, and Ian has Mark Noble as his style icon, so say what you will. Say goodbye, Oscar.
Up the Blues. Come on, Chelsea, let's win the Champions League.
Say goodbye, Ian.
I just like Mark Noble, all right?
And it's bye-bye from me. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there. Bye.